This movement is known as the pull down. And what we're simply going to do is take two handles, one in each hand, and pull downward. Now you can use a cable system like this, but in most modern health clubs there will be a seated exercise machine with a high pulley and a handle attached that you can sit down with thigh pads to lock under and apply pressure against the thighs to drive the weights downward. That's one way of doing it, but it does put you in a seated position, and for most Americans, we sit enough as it is. We don't necessarily have to go to a health club and sit more in order to exercise. So if you are one of those individuals that find yourself driving a car on a regular basis in an office setting or wherever the case may be, in a school setting, and you find yourself for hours at a time throughout the day sitting, you might want to break away from that. So we'll be using this machine here with the high pulleys, and you're going to have the handles, one in each hand, and we can position our bodies so that we're in somewhat of a squat stance with the feet parallel, about hip or shoulder width apart, and a soft bend to the knees, and just drive the elbows down by the body and then reach back on up. Now, that angle that I'm pulling at is more out in front of the body, whereas a lot of the machines are much more overhead. So what we can do is actually get a little bit more underneath the pulley. Now, because of the height of this pulley, I'm going to actually have to get down onto one knee. So also, I might even want to face away from the machine itself so that my arms are drawn up even more vertical. And down on one knee or both knees, whichever one you find to be the preference for you, you're just going to draw the elbows downward and then reach up. As I do this, I'm not thinking of pulling with my hands, because a lot of times we'll see people pulling and they'll get into these awkward positions where the arms are coming down and then they're pressing and pulling at the same time. Instead, what I'd like you to think about is just drawing the elbows down and then reaching back up for this nice full extension, almost kind of like hanging from a bar. So you get all the muscles to really feel that length, and the joints of the arms, the shoulders, the elbows really get a nice sense of traction and opening, decompression, and then draw back down again. Now, I can halfway through maybe switch legs. It all depends on what you find is the most appropriate for you. And the way to determine that is to make sure that you assess prior and after each movement. You don't have to do every set like that, but just at least at the beginning, make an assessment on your autonomic nervous system. Maybe it's a single leg balance, maybe it's a strength test, maybe it's peripheral vision, any of the ones that you find most favorable. And then perform the action, reassess, was there a positive outcome? Give it a shot and see how that is.